Hey there, everybody. Powler here, bringing you PlanetSide 2 for Dummies Part 4. In this video, it's going to be taking off where the last video let off, where the last video left off. The last video covered outposts and air towers. I'm going over the different types of bases and structures you're going to find around the map on the different continents and everything. So this video is actually going to cover the bigger bases. It's going to cover the biolabs, amp stations, and tech plants. First thing I'm going to do is we're right now hovering over this Paris amp station. I'm going to do the amp stations and the tech plants first because they have a lot of similar features, just their layout is a little bit different. So first thing you're going to notice, the amp station is actually pretty darn big. We'll pull back here, get a little bit of elevation on it. It is surrounded by walls all the way around, and those walls have quite a few manned towers on them. Those towers, every one of these towers, if we come down in here, has at least 2 anti-aircraft guns on the upper level, and normally 2 anti-vehicle guns on the lower level. Some of them, the ones closer to entrances, do have anti-infantry guns, so they'll be dual chain gun type cannons. I'm not sure if this tower has it or not. Let's see here. Come down low. Yes, it does. So you can see this gun's a little bit different there on the left. That's actually an anti-infantry gun rather than an anti-vehicle gun. As for the base itself, it is made up of, it has one large structure, a large spawn room. So the spawn room is right here across the little path there from the main structure. A single cap point alpha, and several other things. Mainly what we're going to get into is the different shields. So as you can clearly see, I was looking at it a little bit before, we'll come back over here. There's a shield right here. This shield has a symbol on it with a tank in the middle. That means that this shield will prevent enemy armor, any type of vehicles from driving through this. Now, infantry could still run through it. So if you brought up an enemy Sunderer, they'd have to park somewhere outside here, deploy, and then the infantry would have to run through that shield on foot or go over around it as a light assault. There is a slight exception to that, and this is going to be for all these shields to show you, except for the spawn control shields. You can equip Sunderers and I believe maybe even Harassers with a dispersion unit that will allow the Sunderer to drive through that shield. Unfortunately, though, it does take the spot of the AMS on the Sunderer, so if you do have that, you can no longer deploy and become a spawn point. The reason I landed, so this shield, real quick, you know, you got the symbol there with the tank. The generator for that shield is right over here. In this building, just, what are we, 30, 40 yards away? Here is the generator for it. Now these generators are going to look pretty familiar. We're going to see this many times over throughout this video. These are the standard generators for everything. The difference of them is the symbol. So you can see this one has, there's a symbol there with that matches the wall. I'm going to take them out to the map here. Where are we at? Well, if I actually move away from it a little bit so you can see. You see there is the symbol for that tank shield. There's another one down here, another armor shield. This actually powers a shield that covers this wall right here. There's 2 other shield symbols we're going to see. If you look right here, here's one with a horizontal line, and here's one with a vertical line. These are important because these shields actually power something different, which we'll get to in a moment. Now, as for the shield generator itself, if we were attacking this base, in order to destroy this, shooting it, throwing explosives on it does absolutely nothing. In order to destroy this, you walk up to it, and you're going to get the circle activation window up here where you can hold down the E key, and I believe you have to hold the E key for 5 or 6 seconds, and then after that, the generator is going to go into an overload mode. And after roughly 2 minutes of being in overload mode, the generator will then explode. That is the only way to destroy it. Now, you're going to want to stand here and watch it or guard it to some extent, because once it's overloaded, friendlies can come up and defend it by doing the same thing. They'll come up and they'll hold E, and it'll take it out of that overload mode and put it back into normal mode. So you can't just hit it and run away. Well, you can just hit and run away, but somebody might come along and defend it. So that generator powers this shield right here. Next thing we're going to get into is there's another set of shields, as you saw, the vertical and the horizontal, which are powering these shields right here around the main structure of the base. You can see that one right there. Don't crash, don't crash. We'll swing up top here and land actually on the landing pad. That was a bit of a rough landing. Get out. you'll see right here is another shield. Now this shield doesn't have a symbol on it. This shield will actually prevent anybody from going through of the enemy faction. So any TR or VS right now could not pass through this shield. There is nothing that they could do about that, minus a Sunder vehicle with one of those equipped items. I'm actually going to jump down in here. This is the main room of the amp station. You can see all the way around us we got 4 shields on this side, or 4 shields on the main walls. We got the shield up above there, and there's one more back around side here. We'll get to that red shield there in a moment. Up top here on the second floor is the actual capture point. So this is the point that they would have to come in, you have to stand on, let it convert over, and then you have to go through the countdown as it caps across, with one more shield behind here. So there's actually you got the 4 large doors, you got the 2 jump tower doors, so this one in the back, the one I came down originally, and then the door down below, or I'm sorry, not doors, but shields. There is no way for enemy infantry to get in this room without dropping those shield generators, minus the Sunder or with the dispersion unit on it. They could drive through there, stop and unload here, but it's very unlikely that will happen. In order to drop that shield, as I showed you before on the map here, there's a horizontal and a vertical. The combination of both of these shield generators need to be destroyed to lower this shield. If you take down just one of them, the shield will still be up. Now one last thing, well, 2 things we're going to show. I'm going to run down in here. There's another type of generator here, which is this spawn control generator. That is this guy. We're going to see this guy a few more times as we go through this video. This generator actually enables the spawn control room to function. If this generator is destroyed, you can no longer spawn at the spawn control room. You need to use a Sunder or a spawn beacon or go to a different outpost or something. In order to get in here though, this shield, although it's different in color, is actually powered by the same generators that control the main shield. And we'll run out here and take a look at this one over here real quick, which is right over here. So basically these 2 shield generators, the horizontal and the vertical, for the most part they're going to be the biggest targets when attacking one of these bases. You got to get both of these down so you can really get armor in there and take over the control point. So right here you'll see this is the horizontal shield generator. Looks exactly the same as the tank shield generator, just a different symbol over it. So now if we'd go ahead and knock both of those down, then all the shields for the main building would drop, including the ones for the spawn control generator, and then you'd be able to go in and destroy the spawn control generator. The last thing I'm going to show you is there's a little bit of a tunnel system underneath the base. I'm going to run up here to my Reaver first though, so it doesn't despawn on me. Let me give you a little bit of breakdown while I'm doing this. So early on when the game first came out during beta and for the first 8 months or so, these spawn control rooms were a good bit different. They didn't have these tunnel systems. They didn't have a lot of the guns over top. They didn't have the cover from aircraft above. And what would happen would be once an enemy force came in here and was attacking the base and they would get you pinned back in your spawn control room, they would just shell the crap out of you. You had no real way to get in or out because there was only like 4 doors. There was no cover from aircraft. There was no guns. There was nothing like that. They did an update, I don't know when it was, but it was a little while ago, that completely redid all this. In that update, they also added in a neat feature, the tunnel system. Now this is only going to be here for the amp stations and tech plants. They're slightly different just in their layout, but it's all the same thing. From the main level, if you look towards the back door here, there's a path down. If we run down here, there's tunnels that run under the base and take us to different points. So as we get down here to the end, if we would hang a left, it would take us out to the easternmost wall. So that tunnel would bring us out somewhere around here. If we go right here, it would take us out to the westernmost wall. But we also have 2 points right here, and these points are very important because if we come up here, they bring us out in the same room as the spawn control generator. This is going to be something that you want to cover because obviously the spawn control generator drops. You're going to probably lose the base, and so forth. So you want to know how to use that tunnel system to get back here real quick during a defensive stance in order to try to protect this base, and you can really get there nice and quick. So I believe that'll cover it for the amp station. Yeah, I'm going to cut the video here, and we'll be back in a moment at the tech plants. Alright everybody, so here we are now. We're coming back into the tech plant. This is HVAR tech plant. It's one of the more commonly fought over ones. It's rather close to one of the warp gates. And you tend to get quite a few battles here, but you get the general idea. I didn't really go over this at the amp station, but I should have said it. Tech plants, pretty much one tech plant is going to be the exact same as every other tech plant. Same thing with an amp station, they're all going to be about the same. And biolabs. There'll be minor differences, mainly in these little buildings outside of them. There'll be some variations to that. One building might not be there at a certain tech plant where it is at a different one. It could also be moved around a little bit, but for the most part they're 90% the same exact thing. So first thing you'll notice right away, tech plants, unlike amp stations, are not surrounded by a defensive wall. There are a few of them that have slight walls further out. We can fly out here real quick and you'll see there's a wall unit right here. Not nearly as defensible though, and this also actually works to help the attacker sometimes, as you can capture this place and use it as a spawn room in order when you're assaulting it. But the base itself does not have that protective wall around it. To make up for that though, it does have a few other defenses. Mainly this upper level right here as we're coming in. This has anti-air and anti-vehicle guns on it. You'll see there's 2 anti-air on each side and 2 anti-vehicle on each side, giving it a little bit of a defensive punch. Not nearly as much as an amp station. But you can set up a defense here and hold out for a little while. Other than that though, the building itself is kind of similar in terms of... actually no, that's not true. It's not really similar all that at all. Other than the features are similar to it. Basically what we got here is on the back side, here is our spawn room. The spawn room, I'm going to come in and land here, and we'll move from the spawn room in. If we come down here, whoop, without dying, up, or we'll die and respawn right here. That was pretty good of me. Come on. Okay, so right here we'll see this is the spawn room. Here is the spawn control generator. Remember we talked about at the amp station, this is what allows the spawn room to function. If this is destroyed, the spawn room no longer works. We'd lose this green dot. There is a shield system. You'll see here is a horizontal shield generator. Here's a vertical shield generator. If both of these are destroyed, you can then gain access to this. You can also take down the shields protecting the main building itself. So let's go ahead and spawn real quick here. We'll run in here. And you'll see here is the spawn control generator inside its own little shield system. Now this shield again is tied in with the main building shields, which will prevent you from getting in and everything. You'd have to take down both the horizontal and vertical. I'm going to run back into the spawn control room real quick. Actually we'll hef it over here for a moment. Just want to let you see the horizontal shield generator. And you'll see it's exact same as the tank shield generator and the horizontal shield generator we saw at the amp station, just located on the second floor of this building here. Right there it is. Again, it's going to be the hold E to activate it. Once it's overloading, you then got about a minute or 2 minutes before it explodes. Okay, going back into the changes. Tech stations, as we saw in the amp station, this is not the building I want to be in. As we saw in the amp stations, the main room within the base where the cap point is isolated via that shield. If you don't drop that shield, other than a diffusion equipped Sundra, you're not getting in. Tech plant's a little bit different there. The main doors are protected by a shield, but there are ways around it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fly down this tunnel here, so we're taking the tunnel system down. If we'd hang a left here, this is going to bring us out in the same building as the spawn control generator, but I'm going to continue on. I'm going to continue on a little bit further, and we're going to go up down here at the end. This will bring us up at the far end of the base. So you can see on the map now, we're down here at the far end. We're actually at the vehicle control pad. So right here is where you would spawn your tanks and everything. The terminals are up there on the second level. And you can see here is one of those shields. So this is an anti-vehicle and anti-infantry shield. Nobody will be able to pass through it until the shield is dropped. As we come back over here to the main part of the base, here's another shield on both sides. So again, nobody will be able to drive through there. But you notice there's a pretty big, large gap there above it, which would allow for light assault to pass through. Tech plants are actually a very good base to play light assault in, as there's a lot of elevation for you to move around in, a lot of places you can get to. Though the other thing I wanted to point out is right here on the back door, there are two doors. There's this one right here and another one right down there. These, as you can pretty clearly see, there's no shield on them, so any enemy infantry could come and go through here and work on capturing the base without dropping the shield. Now you do want to be cautious if you're the one attacking here, as our spawn room is right out here. So any defenders are going to be coming across this area to get back to the point, and you can get caught in a crossfire pretty handily. But other than that, so you can get into this base without dropping the shields a little more efficiently, but it's still a good idea, as the only way in tends to be a little dangerous. As for the point itself, it is located up here on the second floor, right here in the very middle, in this little catacomb area, which works nice. You can get some defenders in here and really cover the angles. Let's see, there's two other things I want to show you on this base. First, I was telling you about the light assault and how they have many avenues of attack in here due to the elevation, and here's another one of those on the very back of the base. So we're now above the vehicle spawn terminals, so you see the vehicle pads are below us. There's a balcony back here, so light assault can jump right up here onto this balcony and come into the back of the building right above Alpha, and this is a good place to set up also, as you can defend, or you can attack from up here, and you have a pretty good line of sight on the whole upper level of the base. Good place to drop some engineered turrets and lay down some fire. The last thing I want to show you is going to be the upper part of the base. So we saw where the gun turrets were and everything up above. There's two ways up there. There's either the tunnel system, not the tunnel system, but the lift system, or the teleporters. So there's a teleporter here, and there's another one that matches it on the other side there. These teleporters are only usable by the defender, so as an attacker you would not be able to use this. As a defender though, you run through there, they instantly bring you up to the very top here, and you can see we're now in the upper gun on the tower, or on the, whatever you'd call this, the superstructure of the building. And that's the almost fell. You got two anti-aircraft guns and two anti-vehicle guns on each side, and it's mirrored back down there. Then in the very middle here is that lift system I was telling you about. Now this can be accessed by anybody. So this is something you want to keep an eye on. Enemies can come and go up and down that. They're also going to drop pod in on top of this. It's a common tactic. You drop pod, you land on the roof, and drop in here and can take out these towers. The last thing is right here is air vehicle spawn terminals. So you can get Reavers, you can even get galaxies right here, which is kind of rare. There's not a lot of places outside of the warp gate where you can spawn galaxies, but tech plants are one of those. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to just drop down a little bit here, and I've said one more thing a few times now, but the last thing I want to show you is this lower level. So this is kind of in between. Below this platform here is where Alpha is. It's another floor down, but this is a good place to set up defenses when you're working here, as not a lot of people look in this place. And you can see if we get out here, we have a pretty good line of sight of everything around the base. It's good to come up here with anti-tank rockets, anti-air rockets, as aircraft have to come in kind of low and flat at you because of the cover above, and not a people look this way. So this is a good little location to hang out in between when you're working on. You can get some nice kills from there, in my experience at least. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut there, and we're going to head over to a biolab real quick if I can hopefully spawn an air vehicle. So we'll be back in a moment. So here we are now. We're back at the biolabs. Unfortunately, I lost my Reaver again, got blown down by a scythe. Didn't even hit him once either. So sad. We're looking at Elysium Biolab here, though, from a bit of a distance. There's a reason for this. First, you get the general idea of the biolab. They're a bit unique to the world of PlanetSide, or at least PlanetSide 2, because the main structure itself is located within that dome up above. There's no way for vehicles to get in there. It's all blocked off. You can't get any aircraft or any type of ground vehicle up there, making it a purely infantry-focused fight if you're going to capture one of these. There is a little bit, though, to go over first, mainly the surrounding area. So you can see here you got the lattice network coming up, but even without the lattice network, it's a good point to point out. Let's look over for where is it? Emmerich doesn't have the lattice. If we look at this biolab right here, right? So there's no lattice network, but even still, there's these outposts. There's an outpost here, and outpost here. The reason these are important is these outposts provide several different things. First, they're your primary way to spawn around one of these biolabs. They're also your best way in and out of the biolab. By controlling this current outpost right here, the research laboratory, it gives us two different options of getting into the base. First, there is a teleporter, which is located over here, that will literally teleport it right inside a shielded room within the biolab itself. And it's next building over. Once we get there, you'll see it. It's, whoop, can't get there this way. Here we go. Down in here is a teleporter, just like we saw at the tech plant, where that one took us up to the upper level. This one actually teleports us inside the biolab itself. And it brings us out inside a shielded room. So if this was a TR-controlled biolab, this room, since we controlled that outpost, is shielded to protect us. You can come through there without getting blown away right away. The other thing that you can do from that is there's jump pads that lead up to the different landing pads on the air tower. I'm going to run out here to one of the landing pads. And you'll see there's jump pads here and there. So there's one right here, one over there. There's also on the other end of the building, on this jump pad, there's another, or I'm sorry, on this air pad, there's two more jump pads, one that would take you up here and one that would take you down there. For the moment, let's see, we want this guy over here. And this will take us right back to that outpost we were just at. So this is the first thing that just keep in mind when attacking a biolab is you're going to want to capture one of those outposts. Either just because of the grid system it's going to force you to do it, or the other thing is it just makes attacking a biolab that much easier. Normally if you want to capture 2 or 3 of them, if not all of them, because it gives you multiple avenues, it makes it much harder for the defenders to be prepared for you. As you can see, even coming in onto this air pad, the defenders have all the cover and you're kind of out in the open. There's one other thing I wanted to show you real quick, and that is back over here. There are more of the lift system. There's 2 up, a single down, and so forth. This can work pretty well. You can park a Sunderer down here and people can just go ahead and take the lifts directly up. Now it's a bit dangerous, mainly because right in this lower part, in there is the vehicle spawn terminals, so anything parked here is easy pickings for enemy tanks to roll out and blow it up. Even if you park in underneath here, you got to be good with your defenses. You want to have some rockets set up in order to keep any enemy tanks off of it. The other reason it's dangerous is when you first come up here, as we saw with the jump pads, with the lift system, you land out in the middle of nowhere and you're going to get gunned down unless you have some friendlies here. Hopefully some friendly air cover also shelling the crap out of these guys in order to keep them pushed back into the biolab itself. As for the main structure, once you're inside here, it's kind of a mix of trees and buildings in a weird little way. Though for the most part, the fights in here go from point to point, with the main objectives being, you'll see right here here is the spawn control generator, and right here is the spawn control room. Now this is identical for all biolabs. The very center in the middle is the generator. The spawn control room is right across from it. The shield system that is protecting it is there's a single generator right in here. And you'll see this generator has a different symbol on it. That generator only powers this. It doesn't power anything else, just this guy. So unlike tech plants and biolabs where they're tied in with the main building shields, this is an independent generator. Let's see, other than that, there's a few minor variations. This tech plant, or I'm sorry, this biolab has 4 cap points. Normally it varies. Some of them have 3, some of them have 4. I believe there's even one out there with 5 with a cap point down below. I have to go dig into to make sure of that, but generally you're going to see 3 or 4 cap points, an alpha through Charlie or an alpha through Delta. There's going to be one in the main building, in the large building with the generator, up here on the 2nd floor. Then you're going to have one, let me zoom in a little bit here. You can't really see the buildings. Let's run back down here. You're going to have one in this building, kind of across from Bravo, or across from the shield generator. And lastly, there's going to be another one in this building right here, up on the 2nd floor. These 3, as far as I can tell, are in every single one of them. If there's a 4th or 5th cap point, they're located somewhere else. But those 3 that I just showed you are the ones that are always there. So it gives you a good idea. I believe that's about it for the biolab. The big thing is you're going to be coming in via the jump pads or the teleporters. You want to protect that. If you get up here, your first target is going to be the generator, and then the spawn control generator. You're got a Bravo, or you're going to have 2 points located relatively close to the shield generator, which are nice, but it does make this room here can become very, very chaotic, because this is the primary defense location and the primary attack location. Don't forget to use the shielded rooms, and there is no tunnel system or anything like that with only one shield. Last thing is we'll take this little teleporter down. That middle teleporter brings us down below to where you can see the vehicles. This is the vehicle terminals. There's 4 of them down here. You can spawn everything from here. There's also class terminals. This area is protected by the people that control it. So this shield is not protected by the shield generator up above. It is always on. If you cap it, it then becomes friendly and you can work in here. So this has been Paler. I know that was a lot to cover. This video is going to be pretty dry and a little bit long, but unfortunately it's information that is needed and was not covered in the tutorial. We'll try to do something a little bit lighter next time. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.